Good morning, Grandma and Grandpa. This is your favorite grandson currently living in Chicago. At least I think I can make that statement, kind of assuming that I'm the only grandson you have living in Chicago, so I'll take that distinction. Right now it's about 5:15 in the morning, and I feel bad I haven't written you guys lately, so in an effort to make it up for your 60th anniversary, I thought I'd take you on a tour of my walk to work. So, here we go. Let's go out the back door. I'm going to try to do this from the first person view and talk over the back of the camera as much as possible so you guys don't miss any of the scenery. Alright. And right away we have a bit of history. The 25,000th ever constructed 7-Eleven. There you go, and it's only going to get better from here. I recently went on a walking tour with the Chicago Architecture Foundation, and one thing I thought was pretty unique is they call their tour guides docettes, because that's a term specific for tour guides of museums, but because they consider the whole city their museum, they call themselves docettes. So I guess I will be your docette this morning. So I'll try to give you an idea of what my typical walk to work is like. Coming up on the bridge going over the Chicago River. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to point out, so I'm going to try to go quickly. Alright, right away from left to right, we have the Marina City, which was touted as the city within a city when it was first constructed. And then to its right is the Mathis Tower, and then below that is Hotel 71, which is a famous hotel. It's been used in several movies, including the latest Batman. And then to its right is the Carbide and Carbon building, the one with the gold top. The rumor is that was originally constructed to look like a champagne bottle during the Prohibition. So that building is now the Hard Rock Hotel. And then that big ominous black metallic one, that is just 35 West Wacker, which starts the naming convention of just the address. So, and to its right is the United building, the one that's very glossy. That is a very pretty building. That's United headquarters, as you might have guessed. And then here's our first Art Deco building. This is the LaSalle Wacker building. And it is named after the cross streets, who are named after Charles Wacker and Sieur de LaSalle. I believe it was, I'm forgetting his name, but Sieur de LaSalle was an early explorer of Illinois, and Charles Wacker was instrumental in the design of the city. And behind us is the Britannica building, which is a Chicago landmark, which is nice because I'm on the 16th floor of that building, the Sterling, so they currently can't build over our view of the city, which is very nice. And I'll come out a little further here. And right here we have Merchandise Mart, which is the biggest building in the city in terms of volume. It's 4,000 square feet, and until the Pentagon was built, it was the biggest city or biggest building in terms of volume in the nation. And it even had its own zip code until about 5 years ago. So one thing I learned is that Art Deco buildings, when they were constructed, faced very strict zoning laws. They could only build straight up so high, and then they had to build on top of that afterwards. And that was in an effort to not make the city feel enclosed after the fire of 1871, try to make it a little safer. But nonetheless, the LaSalle street still got the nickname the Canyon because of its overpowering buildings. And here is a man I like to call Greg. Greg usually sleeps on that bench, and I'll make him sandwiches sometimes. I just hope he's not allergic to peanut butter, because I feel bad. And right here, this big blue shiny building is the Atrium Mall. Also called the Fred R. Thompson Center after the former governor of Chicago, or governor of Illinois. I'm gonna try not to get hit by any cars and following the walk signs pretty well. And I'm gonna cut across so we can see these flowers. Just walk in the middle of the road. So yeah, they have some very, very pretty flowers here in the city. They try to make do with what they have and get some green everywhere they can. There's the mall. It's got a weird V design in it. You can see that. Usually there's squirrels playing on this path. I'm not sure, or not squirrels, pigeons. So I'm not sure where they are this morning. Maybe they found a new spot. And up here is the Illinois State building, State of Illinois building. And that sculpture up there I think is pretty cool. Looks like a flame, but it's called Freeform. I'm not sure if this is, I'm not sure what kind of building that is. There's a pigeon. There they are. And we're now entering the Chicago Theater District. There's the Cadillac Palace. And also way down there, they don't have the lights on so you can't really see it, is the Ford Oriental. And right in front of us is City Hall. Just a big, ominous building. They got 5 American flags and 4 Chicago flags. Always putting the emphasis on the nation over the city, or nation over the state, state over the city, so on and so forth. You can just tell some of these buildings don't have ledges, so they just seem like they go on forever. And coming up here is 120 North LaSalle. And they have a mural in here depicting the story of Daedalus and Icarus. And when they escaped the labyrinth, and Daedalus told his son not to fly too close to the sun, but then he did anyway. His wings melted. So I'm not sure what the moral of that story is. I remember reading that a long time ago. Don't fly too high. I don't like that moral. There's a church over there. And way down there, after you can see that, is J. Pritzker Pavilion. Off in the sunlight. I'm not sure if you can see that. That's pretty cool too. Here is 33 North LaSalle, which is a great example of an Art Deco building. And right next to it is 1 North LaSalle. They're owned by the same company now. But You can really tell how they make the horizontal darker to try to emphasize the vertical, to make it seem like it's going faster, higher, even more faster than it is. So these are two of the more famous Art Deco buildings in the city. Morning. Now we're starting to enter the financial district a little bit more. LaSalle Street's always been known kind of as the Wall Street or whatever of Chicago. There's the one LaSalle Street building. They have some sculptures and engravings on there. I think it's supposed to be like Columbus and some Native American Indians. Kind of a tribute to the settlement of Chicago and the cooperation and help of the Indians. And this building, I never really noticed, was built by a French Canadian on top of the old Otis building, I believe. But it's a really modern building, but you wouldn't know it if you just looked at the first 4 levels. And they did that under the premise that most pedestrians don't look more than a few rows up or a few floors up. You can tell it's definitely a strange building. It's blue and green right on top of that. And up here is the Northern Trust Bank building. This was built back in the 1800s, I think. 1880, 1890. And it is the only bank in the city without an office building on top of it. So I thought that was kind of unique. And they have some nice hanging gardens I thought you might appreciate up there. Northern Trust Company. About 2 floors up, some nice gardens, flowers. Oh, security camera. Look out. And here's just some older buildings, not sure what these are. Nothing too famous going on with those. Here's the Harris Bank building. Pretty modern. And the private bank building. Nothing extremely spectacular about this guy. Well, they do have a very large United States flag, which is good. Oh, and I should start pointing out the Chicago Board of Trade straight ahead. If you can see that on top, that is the statue of Ceres, the Roman goddess of grain. And that is about 3 stories tall, and it's made of aluminum. But that is a tribute to all the agriculture and commodity trade that occurred in the city. And apparently it was designed by the same person who built the Oscar. So you can definitely see the resemblance if you get an up-close look. And here we have another very good Art Deco example. You can see how it looks like an armchair. It's just one tall center surrounded by 4 pillars. This is the Field building, and it was built in the same location as the American Insurance building, which was the first modern skyscraper with metal structure. So they cleared that out and they built this here. Oh, we got away from traffic. Right here we have the Rookery. Kind of looks like an old library, but I think it used to serve as... Who was in this building? I can't remember right now. best example of Art Deco architecture is by far the Chicago Board of Trade. Most likely partly because of its location as well as its step-back design. Definitely artistic. Right here we have the City National Bank building, and one thing that the walking tour pointed out to me was the pillars are not that glamorous on the city building, but as we move forward to the Continental Illinois Bank building, which was built around the same time, you can see that its pillars at the top are a little more elegant. And then there's the Chicago Federal Reserve Bank, which is a national building, and you can see that it has some very, I think these are Corinthian Roman pillars. Either way. And up here we have the clock, the Chicago Board of Trade clock, and it's about 13 feet tall, just for scale. And on the left is a Mesopotamian holding grain, and on the right is a Native American holding corn. So that's another tribute to them. Very impressive structure though. And then we get to hang a right on West Jackson. Almost there. Usually takes about 17 minutes or so when I'm not sightseeing. And there are some nice paintings in there symbolizing science, industry, art, and nature, I believe. Last one's a leopard. And there is my building, 311 Southwacker. It's also called the birthday cake building sometimes. I know I've heard that. I'll be there in a second. Across the street. And then it seems like that's pretty much the end of the tour, but then you get the biggest building in the city. The former Sears Tower, now the Willis Tower. Just a massive, so that's right outside my building. I'm gonna try to keep this under 20 minutes, hopefully I can get up to show you the lawn before I get in there. Right next to the Sears Tower. Ugh. This is pretty cool, like some of the only grass in the city on this little courtyard area. It's nice to go out there and sit. And I'll show you the mezzanine area. Then I think I have to go because security might not like me bringing this up there. Here's some kind of artistic structure. There are the escalators. Here's a little foyer, there's a little restaurant down there. And there's the statue of whoever that water guy is in Little Mermaid wearing a Blackhawks jersey. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me on my walk to work. I love you very much, Grandma and Grandpa. And I look forward to seeing you this Saturday. Happy anniversary.